Greatness Quest. I'm Trevor Crane, and every week I'm bringing you somebody absolutely extraordinary to help you blow up your business, to help you transition your business from whatever it is into what you ideally want, so you can have a phenomenal business. And this week is Emily Gower from Australia. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
How'd I do with the accent?
You did all right. I hate the Australian accent, so
What?
you could just go back to the UK. Yeah,
No.
everyone else loves it. We hate it, so yeah.
No, I think you sound great, and I think mine was pitiful. I intentionally tried to make it pitiful. I've connected with you today, with everybody who's listening right now. The reason you're watching Emily is we're going to talk about The Book Within You, which is actually a free book that, not a free book, but it's a gift. I'm just letting the cat out of the bag, right? Right out of the get-go. Emily's got a great new book. It's called The Book Within You, and she's going to give that as a gift to anybody watching, so make sure you check that out. But she has 6 published books. She owns a publishing house and helps coaches, consultants, business owners not just write their book, publish them, promote them. So we're going to talk a bit about that and a little bit about your book and also about greatness. I'm excited about today. But tell me a little bit about you and where you come from, because when we were getting to know each other before we started this interview, you talked to me about like when you're 19 years old and all this stuff. So give everybody some feedback of where you're from.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I always love that question because people usually open with it, and it's the hardest one to answer in a short space of time. But let me give you the brief note for it.
All right.
So, look, basically, like writing has been a big love for me my whole life. But I basically, like most people, I went through school, and I got to this point where I left school and I dropped out of university purely because my head and my heart went in 2 different directions. And my head said stay in uni, and the rest of me said leave. So I left and I followed it. And basically what happened was I started studying NLP and a lot of personal development. And then after I'd finished my course and I became master certified by the time I was 19, I basically went into what most people would call depression. So I spent about 8 months not wanting to get out of bed in the morning, and I experienced what that's like.
So hold on. You went and got this, you got your education.
Yeah.
You learned all this great stuff like NLP. So I'll master my neuro-linguistic programming if anybody doesn't know what NLP means,
NLP.
Which is like if you change the words, you can reprogram your mind and having a great life.
Yep.
And you went from there. This is not a glowing endorsement of NLP, by the way. You went from there to being depressed, like
You're the first person that's ever asked me that. I'm so glad you asked me that because it's really poignant. So look, NLP in and of itself is a very powerful tool, and there's no doubt about it that once you learn it, it's with you forever. NLP was not the source of me heading that way. It was unresolved challenges that I basically came across, and a big part of that was for me was that I was at the point in my life where I was trying to work out what to do next, and NLP didn't resolve that for me. It was, what do I want to do with my future? And so
Hold on. I'm sorry. I know, but here's the deal. You just opened up a little can, and I'm not going to skip over it either.
It's a big one.
So what? Okay, and give me. I know this is. You said the small version. So hold on. What wasn't going well in this beautiful young girl's life who's just finished university? Is uni for anybody who doesn't catch that. So what was this big awful thing? I dare to.
So what happened?
Well,
to leave me there?
Like this version. Without blood, sweat, and tears.
I can give you a short version of it. Is that like I said, so NLP is very powerful, and I think it's an extraordinary tool. However, I think what was missing for me was actually a flaw in the education system, which I see all over the world. And I know that we're going to talk about my new project, and actually I'm wanting to solve that problem around the world, is that they don't sit down and carefully help you define where you would love to go with your future. Now, it could just be that in NLP I didn't bring that up. So during my 7-month training, maybe it was just me that didn't bring it up for it to be resolved. However, I still don't think NLP is the best tool to use in order to help someone clarify what their life is about, which is the tool that I've now created. So for me, what was underlying it was I didn't know what to do next. So that was where the problem came from. And with that, because I didn't have a sense of purpose, I didn't have a sense of meaning or significance, and everything just went downhill, and I had no confidence. And so that was what I think preceded my rock bottom kind of period, because then when I wasn't working and I wasn't studying NLP, I just crashed. I didn't have anything to go on.
Oh, so you had no compelling future. You didn't know necessarily why you were doing it. So you just felt depressed, and then you weren't busy with work or school or anything else, and you were like, where am I going? And because you saw no future,
why am I here?
Why am I here? All that big question. Okay,
biggest question that everybody asks. Yeah.
You didn't get in a car accident. Nobody died. Your hair didn't fall out, and you weren't attacked by aliens and they abducted you. It was
like
just what? What was your pain that you felt like you had that now you've solved for others?
my pain was that I didn't know why I was here and that I wanted to do something that actually made my life meaningful. And I had already worked in jobs by then because I mean, I moved out of home when I was 17 years old. And I had worked in jobs but didn't find my fulfillment there. And getting paid $14 to $30 an hour just didn't feel like, I felt like I was worth more than that. And so hence, you know, not being able to work in a job. And I laugh because if I went back into a job, I'd really struggle now. So financially, if anything, just because of the mentality, because I think we're worth more than that. And I knew that I had this huge value inside of me. And when I had post NLP and I kind of went spiraling down, and I remember the moment where I decided not to take my life, not just because I'm really not that courageous in terms of physically hurting myself that way. So, you know, it's kind of a blessing. But the thing that made
kind of a blessing that you didn't take your life. Yeah, that's
kind of a blessing.
Yeah, that's kind of a blessing. And you just slid that under.
No,
like,
I mean, it's kind of a blessing.
And just as an aside, like I decided not to take my life. Well, I decided that was more, thank goodness. And it's so great that you can laugh about it right now. I'm giving you a hard time.
You got to find the humor in some of those things, otherwise you never get past them. So, so for me, one of the things that I really distinctly remember this because I remember laying on the floor. I stayed there for like 12 hours one night. It was like middle of 2007, and I was laying there and I was thinking, I don't want to live anymore. I don't care if my heart doesn't beat again, which was extremely sad. And in that moment, I think my logical brain might have kicked in, and it was like, hang on, I have all of these gifts and all of these skills, and I'm bright, and I got 96% in school. Like I did really well, and I've helped a lot of people through my NLP course. I was like, so this doesn't line up. It's like, how can it be that we all have something to offer and that life doesn't? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to solve that problem. I'm going to solve the problem of first of all finding out what my thing is, my one thing, and then I'm going to find out, you know, what can I do and how can I actually start to create a business, a life, and something that's actually meaningful off the back end of that. And that's what I spent the last 8 years solving for myself.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Trevor Crane, and every week I'm bringing you someone extraordinary. Today is Emily Gower, and we are talking about the book inside. Oh no, hold on. The book within you. So it's not just the book within you, though. We're talking about some pretty hard times you went through when you were younger, and we were just putting the cherry on the top when you were 19 years old. You're gorgeous, 96% in school. Everything's seemingly going your way, but you were completely miserable, and you opted not to take your own pretty head off. And so and then you found something that would save you, that would like show you a compelling future. So tell everybody what that is, or help us.
Sure. So I think sheer persistence was a really big thing for me, because actually at the time I didn't have the tool that we've created for other people. Sheer persistence.
Sheer persistence.
Sheer that might have been the
persistence,
accent.
Which sounds better than ship persistence. I was like, wow, what do ships have anything to... that was the accent thing. Okay, sorry.
So sheer persistence. So for me, I knew that I would have to find something I love to do. And so it was really a case of finding my inspiration. So what was it that I wanted to do? And for me, that falls very strongly into the field of books and writing. That's been with me my whole life. So that was my first zone that I wanted to go into. And over the last 8 years, have built up a business and a bit of a career in that space, a bit of a career. I'm downplaying a lot of things today. I did. I built quite a huge career in that area, actually. But also there's a human greatness side of it has also run underneath everything for me, because I know that I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done with, you know, having 6 books and working with people from all over the world and speaking from stage and working for Demartini. I would never have been able to do any of that if I hadn't had started to master my own psychology, which really for me was about finding my inspiration in life.
Okay, so your challenge was when you were young, you didn't have you weren't inspired, you weren't sure what you were going to go do, and to you that was like death. Because I know we've been talking a little bit, and inspiration keeps coming up. Other than the fact that I was confused about ships, and I gave you a hard time about NLP. When we were off camera, it was inspiration, inspiration, inspiration. And so the fact that you did not have that was what was killing you to a certain degree.
Pretty much.
And then you found it for you, and you found that in books. So connect the dots for me. You mentioned that you've worked with John Demartini, and I think it was maybe was that part of your transition at all when you started working with him, or?
Yeah, definitely. Look, basically what happened for me to just start shifting me out of my depression, if you will, was to start actually studying with John. So I went to the Breakthrough Experience, and I've done a lot of courses with John over the last 8 years. And I think he's an extraordinary man. He's phenomenal in the space of human behavior. So I started in that area. And then one of my contacts had said to me, you can get paid to write, which at the time I didn't know that. And then that basically was the starting point for quite a big career, in that space. And then because I was studying with John and I was writing, and then John figured it out, and he was very inspired by me in terms of my drive, and he could see that I love to write. He basically said, we're looking for a team of writers. Do you want to play, basically? So look, fast forward 9 months from that, and that was 2009, and I helped him put the first manuscript for Inspired Destiny together, which is I think was his fastest best-selling book. But he's had a book come out since then, which is also amazing. So
you were one of the writers on that project?
Yep, I was the person that started with a blank document. I still remember the day I typed the words Inspired Destiny in a blank document and went, "Here we go." It was an adventure.
Okay, so now talk to me a little bit about the book within you, and it sounds like you kind of skipped over part of it, but it sounds like writing helped save you to a certain degree, or how would you say it?
And I think partly because of the therapeutic benefit of writing, but I also think because I just actually love it. And when I got to start mentoring other people and writing for other people, because it was something that I'm inbuilt with, I think the fact that I started to do that gave me some hope, and it gave me something to focus on. And then I got to start to make some, get some traction in that area. And look, that really, I get in some senses, it's sort of a history, because I went from writing for people to publishing my books to then other people asking me how I was doing it, to then mentoring them, to then them saying, how do we actually get this thing in our hands? And hence the birth of my publishing company. So it was sort of everything's been a bit of a logical progression in that space. And so yes, writing did definitely save me, but simply because it gave me an area to focus on, something that I could a business, basically, something I could build a business out of and start serving people. And it opened up a whole new way of life for me. It was, I traveled the world, I blogged, obviously I worked for DeMartini, he was one of my clients for a while. And, I've worked for some other extraordinary people, and I've had the opportunity to help people bring their message out onto the page. And I still do book mentoring today, one-on-one for very select clients. And, we're publishing people at the moment. And it's an extraordinary world to be in. It's definitely captured. And actually one of the things I love about it is because there is a lot of human greatness. I tend to attract a lot of authors who want to publish books on the topic because they love, like you do, helping people achieve something big.
On the topic of greatness?
Yeah, on the topic of self-development, spirituality, I call it human greatness. That's my phrase. So, human greatness in not so much inspiration, but just really being able to resolve your issues, I guess, so that you can move on in life and do something great. And some of the books are business books, leadership, and so on. Okay,
and you did get my attention with the word greatness being this is greatness quest. Become your best. Okay, I hadn't talked about it like that. Now, talk to us about what's this book within you thing, and a lot of the people watching right now are entrepreneurs, or they're salespeople, or they want to be entrepreneurs, or maybe they have a business and they want to just take it to the next level, and that's why a lot of people will tune in here. So, should they write a book for their business, or should just mom and pop, if there's somebody just watching and they have a job, should they write a book? Because tell them a little bit about your project.
Yeah, it depends on the incentive. So I think that the first thing is to be really clear on why you want to do that. Some people do just want to write it for therapeutic, emotional, spiritual purposes. I've done that. It's very satisfying. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You're not a failure as an author if you do that and you just share it with your friends and family. That's completely fine. But the book within you, as a really good example of this, was a business building book. And it still is. And that book was written to document my content in order to then spread the word about who I am and what I do, and to actually create a bit of a reputation. And it worked. We generated quite a lot of business just in the first 3 weeks of giving that book away. So it was quite extraordinary. It actually came out in July 2014. So it was a couple of months ago, 11 months ago now. So that was really a business building. So if you're going to publish a book for your business, I advise people, because people come to me and they say, we need a marketing plan for our book. And I go, actually, what you need is a marketing plan for your business, and the book is a subset of that. And that's what they don't realize. So I'm starting to now create that shift in psychology for them to not put all their attention on marketing a $30 product, because that's not beneficial. Go and market a $3,000 product, of which the book is a stepping stone to. So that's what we do. And that's the kind of the psychology I'm now starting to empower our authors with, because they come to me and they go, well, my book's only selling this many copies. And I go, well, it's to focus purely on that is not wise financially, especially not if you really want to get ahead. If you want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's wise to focus on the back end of that. So that's really that space. So the book within you was a business building tool, as is many of the books that I'm now encouraging people to write. So it's all about having the business first, get your business model in place first, and then use the book to leverage that.
Have you ever lived in New York City?
No, I haven't, but I'm thinking it might be my long term.
Well, I mean, because you talk so fast. I mean, I'm living right outside of New York
I'm
City
born
right
for
now.
it.
Okay, so we're talking about the book within you and how you can build a business behind the book, and they don't necessarily need a marketing plan, and that's something that I preach and teach and love, and that's one of the reasons why we're connecting. And you also talked about human greatness. So we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to find a little bit more about the free book that Emily's giving away. We'll get back in just a second. Welcome back. We're watching Greatness Quest. I'm here with Emily Gower. That rhymes with power. And we're talking about the book within you. We're talking about human greatness. And just off camera there, you were given more greatness. And you said there's a connection between the two, that there's a book, I guess, within all of us. I don't know why I have to put my hand over my heart when I say that, but
maybe that's where your book is.
That's it. Connect the dots for our audience. Anybody watching right now,
Sure.
how do you mean that they connect? You said that off camera.
Well, yeah, it's a nice link actually from what I was just saying about having a book that is actually part of a marketing plan for a greater business. And what I do is I like to encourage people to go after something really big, to a difference that they want to make in the world. So find your greatness and let the book be a reflection of that, as opposed to publishing a book just for the sake of it, because that is literally a waste of your time and it's a waste of your money and it's not going to get you anywhere.
So pause for a second before you say that again, because I want to get clarity. Write the book about your greatness. Is that what you said?
Your area of greatness, your topic of greatness, the thing that you most want to be known for. So in other words, think top down instead of bottom up.
Okay, so this is key. I want to give everybody just a brief share about something I did. I wrote 2 of those books from the heart. One was about my grandfather, and that's when I first started with my greatness quest. My first episode that I did in front of a camera was me telling a story about my grandfather had passed away. And so then I wrote this whole book about it. And it was very powerful. And yet when I went to publish this book, I realized I didn't have a business behind it. And as much as I was passionate about the subject, it was a labor of love that it matters to me and matters to the legacy I want to leave. And I want something in that, but it just wasn't my mojo. So the book that I published earlier this year that's called High Paying Clients was one that I think might meet your criteria. And I'm actually asking you a question right now because what I teach and preach and whatnot is that you should give away your best stuff first. So I thought, what am I really, really extraordinarily, incredibly good looking at? Good at. And I said, you know what? I'm really good at helping people make that sale, that service professional to make a high level sale. And I thought, why not make it, since that's what I'm best at, let me give it away for free. And so we created the book, and now so I'm asking you, does that meet your criteria? Because then I went ahead and said, what do I do best, or what am I greatest at? And then I'll write my book about it. Is that the same thing or different?
That's an amazing, it's a really good example of it. The only other piece that may be missing from that is, what do you want to do really long term? So is it because you want your book to set you up for that? So if you want to be coaching people in that space long term, then you hit the nail on the head. So I think it's about thinking about that really long term. Because I love that you ask, what am I really good at? Because that's kind of essential. You want to write a book about that, or put a book together about that.
I didn't say what am I really good at. I said what am I great at? Come on, this is human greatness.
What are you phenomenal at?
Phenomenal.
What are you phenomenal? So you did that really, really well. And so in other words, I think that's a really good example of that.
But
and it's really important to think about that long term.
And the long term part. So in this case,
absolutely,
I didn't just say, okay, this is my best thing and I'm going to get it out there. I have my whole business behind it as well. So it's a lead magnet into.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that is what if I have someone want that book, then I really hold their hand and walk them through how to create that ideal business. And that's what my show is about as well.
Well, you'll love this because I'm putting my 7th book together right now. So the book is called The Search for Inspiration, which couples in with the inspiration formula, which I know we're about to talk about. So the Search for Inspiration as a book has been extremely frustrating from a writing point of view, because I planned the book April 18th and 19th. And then in the last, 5 to 6 weeks now, because the content, we got so clear and we really dove into the content. I said, I want this to launch my next business. So I came at it from a really high end. We're going to nail the content, created the outline, and then quote unquote accidentally have created a business where I already have 8 consultants coming on board just in the next week. I already have 3. So by Wednesday next week, I've got 11 consultants working my business. I've been doing paid clients. My schedule has become quite full.
Your schedule, is your schedule similar to calendar, your schedule?
Schedule. Different pronunciation. It's become quite full, and basically what's happened is I've launched a business and have no time to put the book together. So I'm laughing, going, that means that I nailed it. It means I absolutely nailed it, because people want what I have before the book is ready. So you almost want to hit that. You want to get that sweet spot where you can create a business from it today, and the book then becomes a reflection of that.
Okay,
and so
hallelujah.
Because this is the business we want to go for.
I got to cut you off here, because this is really great. This is another thing that one of the reasons I wrote this book, High Paying Clients, the way I did, is it was nothing but a vision and a mission and what I did best. And so then I launched it. We pre-launched the book and became bestsellers with the book and the idea, and we created the momentum behind it, and we had the business behind it. And I say we because I used a team instead of just trying to do it all myself. I'm not really a firm believer of, the self-made millionaire.
No, me either.
I use a team, and I want help because I don't want to do it all myself. And Donald Trump wouldn't do it that way. He wouldn't be like, hey, let me sit down and write my own book and learn how to load it on KDP. And then, no. Get a team to go ahead and help you do it really well. But here's what's cool is that a lot of times people think I don't have time to write a book. And then, if I'm building a business, this is not the most appropriate. There's never what one of my friends and mentors actually teaches is that there's no better time for you to write your book than when you're right in the middle of your own madness.
Agreed.
And that when you're living your mojo and you actually the book is nothing but a gateway, in my opinion, and a framework for your course and an outline of all the content. And so I love it that you're saying you're in the midst of that, and you've attracted 11 consultants now that want to sell your system.
I have like another 5 that haven't been put through the process yet. So people are approaching me and asking me about it, and people flying. I mean, I'm running a training this weekend. They're flying in from different cities. One of them hasn't even experienced it properly yet.
Okay, hold on.
And they just believe in it.
I'm going to warn you. Right now. The last time everything was going your way and you're 19 years old, you're still beautiful. Now you have all this success. I mean, you're not feeling depressed, are you?
Not at all.
Okay, you have a vision.
Remember what that's like? It's kind of a different version of life. Yeah.
Okay. So you've got so much going for you. It's not even funny. And why do you think you've got all these people that want? What's human greatness about? And what does that have to do with inspiration? And why are people jumping on board to support the vision of this?
Big question. So I think there's a few components to this, and I certainly do not have any kind of pre-scripted answer for this. So you're gonna get the first version of it. So a big part of it is that I've been wanting to do this since I was 19. What's underneath the writing business, which I still love, and I love what I do in that space. Underneath that was my desire to help people to truly find their greatness, because I felt like I couldn't find my own, and I wanted to be able to help people clarify what they're here on earth to do, not just what goals do you want to set for the next 12 months. I don't care about your 12-month goals. Tell me about what you're here for on earth, and then we'll set your goals for the year. So I knew that I needed a really big perspective of my own life in order to overcome my challenges. And so the formula, I think it's kind of like it has energy and people can feel it. And some people have been sharing their results of what they get from it. And other people have been very inspired, and they say, well, I want that too, because essentially what the inspiration formula does is answers that question for people: why am I here? So why am I here? What's my inspiration? Where's my drive? Where's my clarity? And they're looking for a bigger perspective on who they are and what it is that they want to devote their life to doing. And so I have quite a following from the projects that I've done. And so some people have and actually it's funny, I haven't actually provided people the opportunity to come and work with me and to come and actually be a consultant. And because I only just really developed the formula 6 weeks ago now. And so I think I've heard a lot of people say in the last few weeks, I've just been waiting for an opportunity to work with you. And that, it was almost like on my vision board, I was going, wow, I didn't even expect that people had been feeling that way, but now they're just jumping on board. So there's that part of it as well. And so there's multiple things. And I think above everything, it's because it's what I really want to do. I really tuned in. It's like I've gotten into the slipstream of who I am and what I actually am here to bring. And people who I've just met for the first time, when I get on a consult, yesterday I was with a client, never met her, never spoken to her, get on a consult with her, an hour and a half later, she's in tears, she's inspired, and she says, what a beautiful gift you've created. And that's the kind of experience that's making it spread. It's all in the formula and what it does for people.
So she liked it so much she cried?
Yeah, I've had 9 out of 10 of my clients with a tear in their eye or tears running down their face. And my consultants who are already on board have also had that. It's very beautiful.
I just, yeah, I see that sometimes when people get a lot of love and attention,
Yes.
and they're acknowledged for something or they're very grateful for
For who
something
they are.
that they
Yeah,
break into tears. So that sounds to me
absolutely.
like what it is. And I'm teasing you a little bit, so thanks for playing with me. So here's what I just gathered, because you said this is one of the first times you've answered that question, if not the first
Yep.
time. You're getting it here.
That is the first time that I've
Okay.
answered that.
So when I asked you the question, you came up with it's about finding your greatness. So this whole thing, and you also gave one of the last things you said is that this is what you want to do. And I love that because it seems like there's a lot of stuff happening in the last 3, 5, 6 weeks. And it's all, I love the entrepreneurship of it and the vision that is pulling people in, because it's a team that's going to head and make the vision come true. And I mean, it's a
Yes.
sign of leadership, a tremendous acknowledgement to you, Emily, that you've got a crowd of people that want to follow your vision, not necessarily you. I think that's great when people want to follow a person, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I'm more impressed with the vision that people are buying into, because that seems for you, I'm just going through my notes here, this is everything to do with their purpose or your purpose.
Absolutely.
And that's what you felt like you were missing. And I'm just trying to break this down into a sequence I understand, so bear with me. You said for you that purpose extends to why you are here, or
Yep.
that's what people are going to discover. Why are
Yes.
they really here? And you're meaning on planet Earth. What's your mission? Not just
Why were you
am I
born?
why
Yeah.
we're born, not why am I at the burger stand. It's why are you? Yeah.
Yeah, no, please don't go to the burger stand.
Well, you don't eat burgers?
That's a whole other interview. But
Okay,
anyway.
but are you a vegetarian?
No, I'm just gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free.
Gluten, dairy, and sugar-free, but you will eat a cow.
I will eat a cow.
Okay.
No, it depends on the context of the cow, how it's prepared and whatever. But no,
Oh,
I don't
right.
typically
No,
eat.
no.
I don't
We
eat a lot of
only
meat.
happy cows. Just
Okay,
kidding.
that's okay then.
Okay, so it's why I'm here, and then who they are, and what do you want to do.
To do.
So these are some W's. I love it. Why, who, and what you want to
what.
do. And this, quite frankly, that's how you began and ended with this, is that it was about finding your greatness, your purpose, your bigger mission than just studying a strategy like NLP that does nothing but to have a core purpose. You're smiling. I don't know why. And then you're tying it all into the book, because you're saying that everybody has a book within them. And it's a great positioning piece. I mean, again, bring me to inspiration and this book thing to just put a bow on it all.
Yeah, to put a big bow on it, I think, and I find this a lot actually, is that when I've been taking clients through, or people have been experiencing the formula, there's kind of so it's like they're discovering their unique body of work, their unique contribution to the planet. And ultimately, actually, I love people finding their purpose, but what I love even more is what they do once they find it. I'm very inspired about that, and that's where the book comes in, because then all of a sudden they go, yeah, I can become. Because here's the thing: to become a best-selling author for me is actually a side effect. It's not something to aim for. It's a side effect of who you were in the world and the difference that you made. So that's my philosophy around it. Is because I watch people like Demartini. Do you think he focuses on how to market his book primarily? It's not the only thing he gets out of bed in the morning to do. It just happens because of what he's doing in the world, and he's been very much an inspiration for me in that area. So I think that's kind of how the two kind of connect together and click together. I mean, and that's what we publish. I mean, we publish books that are totally about human greatness.
I love it, and I'll go ahead and I'm gonna not disagree, but I'll challenge you that what I like. I when I was younger, and I knew that I had some kind of job. I don't know what it is. When I was in school, for example, I was in college, and they said, okay, well, I was doing relatively well in my classes, trying really hard. And I thought, well, you can get a college work study class. And I'm like, well, hold on. That means I get paid to go to work and then I get college credit? And they said, yeah. And I'm like, well, that makes sense, because I get to kill two birds with one stone.
Absolutely.
And then I wanted to graduate with honors because I was doing well enough. I was trying really hard I can do well in school, because I thought it was going to hook me up in business, which, by the way, I did. It didn't. But then I thought, well, why don't I actually kill 3 birds with one stone? So I found a way to write my thesis for my work, and then I got credit for it, so I did it. So what you're talking about when you're saying your mission, your purpose, your book, and that you don't start with that marketing in mind, that it's a byproduct, I agree. However, I also want the strategy. If I can become a best-selling author out of the box, why don't I do that too? because I love the strategy of like, let's make that happen, because it positions everything. So recently we've published.
Absolutely.
So that's my challenge.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't have a strategy for the book, because obviously the book is going to market your business. What I'm saying is don't have your whole business be the book, I think is what I'm really saying.
Yes,
I'm saying,
I agree.
Please build a business and then use the book as marketing. So I'm not, by all means, I'm not actually saying don't market the book.
Okay, you
obviously want to do that.
Because
we do that. We market my books as well. So it's not necessarily that. It's that big distinction that because people go, they have no business and they're not making even $2,000 a month, and then they sit there barely covering expenses and they go, I'm going to write a book and it's going to fix everything. Nope, a good business is going to fix everything. And then the book is going to help you to grow that business. So that's the perspective I'm talking about.
I completely agree, because I just had someone talk to me today about it, and he said, well, I really want this best-selling book, and how much money will I make from my book? And I'm thinking, brother, the book is not your money maker.
Think bigger than that. Yes, you have to think so much bigger than that and so much further than that, I think.
Okay. Any last words of wisdom for people? They're watching Greatness Quest. Let me see. I usually talk about how people want to create an ideal business. They want to transform their business. They want to become their best. And any last words of wisdom for people? We've been talking about everything we've been talking about. Yeah, what do you think?
So many things. Look, I think it's specifically relating to business. And actually, Donald Trump's son actually quoted his father saying something to this along these lines was, if you don't love it, don't be in it. So if you're going to have a business, your heart has to be in it. It has to be the kind of business, and I'm not saying don't maintain some kind of detachment from it. So you need to be willing to walk away from it, but you also need to be more than that, willing to never walk away from it. And what I mean by that is not to keep suffering when it's failing, but to actually do whatever it takes to make it succeed. So for me, your heart has to be in it. It has to be the kind of business that would make you keel over crying because someone didn't get it. It needs to be that kind of thing. It needs to actually have that level of depth. Otherwise, I don't think that you're actually going to go, you're not going to do what it takes, because that's when inspiration kicks in. It doesn't always kick in on a sunny day. It kicks in when it's storming. Then you go, you know what? We're back up against the wall, but I know exactly what to do because I just had a stroke of inspiration. And it comes back to a quote that one of my, I interviewed someone for one of my leadership books, and he basically said, if you love something enough, it's going to reveal all its secrets to you. And the only way to have those secrets of success, of making a good income, is to love it that much that it just pops up. It's just going to show up for you. So if I need to grow my business, get back to your heart. Get back to what you actually want. Why do you want this business? Does it really mean something to you? Are you in the wrong business? Is this even the right one? Is it capturing your essence? Because you know what? Even with the publishing and book space, and I would actually never say this on air, but I'm going to, I've even felt like a glass ceiling with that business. You know why? Because it's not my primary thing that makes it. I love it. I absolutely love what we do, but there's something that sets me on fire just a little bit more than that. And so that's where I want to keep my focus. And then the other business is going to take care of itself. There's no reason you can't have two. There's no reason that you can't have a business in two different businesses. So it's about, for me, people, I see this all the time. People just don't give themselves permission to play big. They don't give themselves permission to realize that actually, why can't you be a multimillionaire? Why can't you have that? And why aren't you worth that? So for me, and then that, I guess, is what breaks my heart, because I came from that background where I didn't think I could have that, and I didn't think that I was worth that, and I didn't think that that was possible for me, or that I didn't have the qualities inside me. And gradually over the last 8 years, I realized I do. And not only that, I'm actually destined for it. So I think it's just really encouraging people to if you're going to have a business, do something you really love to do, the thing that you get up in the morning and, you jump out of bed because you want to do it. And then, like you said something earlier, have a team, because you know what? I'm not strong at everything. I'm strong at certain things, and in those areas, I'm ridiculously strong. But in other areas, I'm ridiculously weak, and I acknowledge that. And you need to have that humbleness, in order to recognize where that is. But yeah, ultimately, you have to love the business. Otherwise, the business is never going to love you back.
I think that's you must be. I think you've won a contest, even though you didn't know you're in it. And it's about having the most amount of words in the shortest period of time. That was.
You should see how fast I type.
Really? Can you type faster than that?
I type pretty fast.
Oh my God, your mind.
Not faster than that. If I could, I'd have 11 books.
There's a lot of hamsters already in there. So I got love. What I really like about that, with a gist, you keep coming back to it, is that you want to love your business so much that you'll do whatever it takes to make it succeed.
Absolutely.
This show is on the Whatever It Takes network, and I completely agree with that sentiment. And you said, I guess another thing that stood out to me is play big. And people are oftentimes scared to play big. And so you gave a lot of great insight there. If you want to really get if you want to really understand what Emily said, we'll transcribe this whole episode, and then you can read it. And then you can go, holy
I'd like to read it.
She had a ton of stuff there. That'd be great. I'm going to turn this into a book. It's going to be a 1,000-page book. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, God.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being our guest. And that we've got a whole bunch of published authors that we try to promote, and we are wanting to showcase that because we want everybody to have a book for their business and a book for your legacy and what you get to pass on. So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you.
And I love the human greatness and your inspiration formula, and I'm looking forward to learning more about that. That's very cool. We've got a lot of synergies here with all of our names at the very least and our mission and whatnot. So thank you for being here.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right. You're watching Greatness Quest. I'm Trevor Crane here with Emily Gower, like power. And, oh, if you're listening to this on podcast, you're going to go ahead and go to greatnessquest.com/Emily. And you'll get a copy of her free book. It's not for free typically, but she's giving it away as a free PDF. And if you want, she actually mentioned this off camera. I forgot to tell you guys. She's going to go ahead and give you a chance to get this book for free. Well, she'll ship it to you, and all you got to do is cover shipping as well. If you want the paperback, so you can write all over it, which I'm going to do. If it's got your picture on there, I'm going to put a mustache on it.
It does, and you can.
All right. So thank you. You're watching Greatness Quest. We'll see you again next week.
Greatness Quest is also available for download on iTunes and Stitcher. See the link in the description below.